Welcome back to my channel. You have signed up for drafting gameplay. We made a green-white deck in the last video with my friend Connor here. I'm Ricky, by the way. And diving right in case you didn't watch the first video, our deck is Landfall. Our win condition is Prowling Felidar and our Scythecat. We have some landfall enablers in the form of Tazim Raptor and Kazandu Stomper. Not to mention Roiling Regrowth. This can actually be a combat trick if we have some of these things in play. And to get through pesky blockers and stuff, we have Cliff Haven Kitesail. To survive long enough, we have the Blightblade. We have Seagate Venerate as our mana sink, our Kitesail Cleric to get in some early damage, and hopefully some late game kicker. Again, it can get rid of some blockers. We have the Shelter to save our landfall payoffs. Dauntless Survivors, fill into the curve. Gnarly Colony, fill in the curve, and also give our creatures trample if we get to there. The Nectar Pot, also to fill in the curve, and it's a landfall payoff. Sometimes those one life, one at a time, makes a difference. It adds up. Binding, overpowered removal spell, speaks for itself. Skyclave Apparition, we're lucky enough to pick one of these up. Very efficient removal. Scale the Heights is surprisingly good again because we are playing landfall. We can ramp up to our landfall payoff sooner, and if they're already in play, potentially we can drop multiple lands and grow them extremely big, extremely quick. And our Ox is more of just a curve filler, and for diversity, I haven't played with the McKindy Ox yet. Decided to try it. Let's go. Any thoughts?
I think the deck looks good. Looks fun. Looks like you got a lot of powerful cards in there.
Let's see how it goes. Arctic Fox. Alright, we go first. We get Mana Screwed. Ooh. So double white, no good. We have 5 mana, 4 mana, 4 mana. So this is absolutely unplayable, I think. Going first, we only have one play, so we're going to take a mulligan here. Story of my life. This is generally what happens when I play Magic cards. So I have the series. All right, let me get this game going first before I go on my rant. So we're definitely keeping this. I think we have 2 first turn plays already. We're definitely not looking for our mana sink this early, so we're dumping that. And let's get this going. Kitesail Cleric without the kicker. So yeah, like I was saying, you know, I have this mana curse. I'm just literally cursed. It doesn't matter whether I'm playing standard or drafting. This game just hates me and always makes me flood or screwed. Like my series, Homebrew Mythic Climb, Connor and I are literally playing the exact same deck. But I've been keeping track on a Google spreadsheet how many times I have been mana screwed or mana flooded, and statistically speaking, it is improbable that is happening that many times to me. If you don't believe me, check out my series Homebrew Mythic Climb on my channel. It is absolutely brutal. Remember, the proof is in the Google Sheets in the descriptions. Check it out. It is awful. Ooh, wow, okay, so all of a sudden we curved perfectly into exactly what our deck is trying to do, so maybe I should shut up now. So definitely play the land, and we're playing the Prowling Felidar now, and we can still attack with our little flyer here, is exactly what we were hoping for. And then we have a Roiling Regrowth next turn, so this is going to become ridiculous.
Mulligan's into the god draw here.
Yeah, I guess I did. But he's playing 3 colors with black, so one of these creatures are instantly going to die. There it is. But it's about to be very, very bad news bears for our opponent here. It becomes a 4/3. I think I'm just going to attack. He's going to block. I'm going to cast Roiling Regrowth and just wipe him. Our opponent goes for the obvious block, and we go for the obvious Roiling Regrowth here. We will sacrifice a forest, a tapped forest, and we will drop a forest and a plains. Keep it even. Why not? 2 1/1 counters on our Territorial Scythecat. Absolutely ridiculous combo here, and our opponent is already at 6. Downside, we are out of cards in our hand. We have, if our opponent has a kill spell for our cat and our cleric, we are not doing so good. We do. So I feel kind of bad for our opponent, honestly, at this point. But do I put the 1/1 counter on the cat? I think the obvious answer is yes, right?
Yeah.
Because this makes it a 7/6, puts it out of reach for our opponent's Dreadworm. We do draw a land. Insult to injury, we draw a land. Holy crap, I can't believe it. We just drew the God Hand. Our deck was exactly designed to do this. Can't believe it happened in game 1. Maybe it's because you guys are watching, which is, of course, is a lie because you are watching this as a recorded YouTube video. But I can't believe that just happened. Game 1, our deck did literally what it was designed to do. Perfect card, perfect draws, everything used 100% efficiently. Unbelievable. We even had a kill spell magnet in the form of the Felidar. Alright, so we have the Kite Sail, we have the Cleric, we have our Raptor, we have our Payoff. What more can we ask for? Actually, in this hand, the Kite Sail isn't as good until later, so I think we would have rather liked to see the Dauntless Survivor instead of Kite Sail, so that, you know, we can draw the Felidar, get some counters on it first, and then we will cast the Kite Sail. Because with a hand like this, without, like, the Raptor isn't even a playable on turn 3, unfortunately, because we would rather return the land to our hand after we have the Felidar on the board. So I don't think I'm even going to play the Raptor next turn.
Really?
Let's see if I draw a land. If I draw a land, I'll play it. If I don't draw a land, I'll have to reconsider. So I do draw a land, so I'm definitely going to play the Raptor now. I think you are correct. What does this do? Let's see. Whenever a cleric enters under your control, you gain 1 life. Okay. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 count. Ooh, yikes. That is going to get fat real soon, real quick. Nothing we can do here except play another flyer. Decline and attack. So the thinking here is if I draw a land here, I'm definitely going to get a 1/1 counter on the Felidar, so I'm more comfortable playing this as an aggression. But if I didn't draw a land and the card wasn't playable, then I would rather have a chance to grow my cat while the board stalls out. So that was my thinking there. Our opponent has a 3/3. I don't see why he wouldn't attack. We're tapped out. If he doesn't attack here, he has something fishy going on. So there we go. He attacks. Unfortunately, our opponent has lifelink vigilance, which is going to make our life extremely, extremely unpleasant. We draw another land. Okay. So making sure we can't cast our Felidar first, just in case we miss Landfall 1/1 tokens like I did in draft number 1. So we play the Felidar, and because maybe I'll posture this trade actually, or should I just go for the attack? Because I definitely not going to block with the Felidar in case he has a combat trick. So maybe I just attack here. Would I go for this trade? That's the key factor here. Next turn, I'm dropping a land.
Probably.
My Felidar will grow, and I'm dropping a Kite Sail on it, so it'll become a 3/4 flyer as a backup.
He might not even attack though.
If I leave this as a blocker, do you think?
Or anyway.
Oh, because I have a Felidar here.
Yeah.
But if he bluffs, if he attacks, would I block? Probably not, right?
Probably not.
So then I probably wouldn't block with the Raptor anyway, so I think we might as well just attack here. Just in case. So we're leaving it up to our opponent to... well, okay, our opponent made that decision for us.
Yep.
So I'm actually glad... So since he had that card in his hand, I'm actually glad he attacked, because now we are that much closer to surviving something like that. But of course our opponent has Nahiri's Binding.
Oh,
And the Cliffs. Okay, so it looks like we are just going to lose to Flood, and our opponent drawing their God Hand. Our opponent has drawn their God Hand, so here we are. that doesn't help, I don't believe, right?
Helps a little bit.
But we can't block. We could put a 1/1 counter on this guy, I suppose.
And then it could block the lifelink, so at least that thing wouldn't keep growing.
Ooh, and it lets us play an additional land. So this does get pretty fat, but we have no way to remove the enchantment, I don't think, unless Skyclave Apparition allows you to target enchantments.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so let's see. Do I play this card first? Yeah, let's see what we draw, right?
Yeah.
I think we play this first. Let's see what we draw. 1/1 counter on the Kite Sail, I think,
Yep.
is the plan. We draw planes. Yikes. So we play planes, we play forests. It's huge, but it does nothing. And I suppose we leave this. Are we leaving it as a chump blocker or just a threat for his Expedition Healer?
Yeah, as a threat for the healer, I think, right?
Yeah, I think that's the
You
better. Our
gotta stop them as a combo,
Yeah,
or that
that's-
thing's gonna keep
I think
growing.
that's it. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Our opponent drew their God Hand. Let's see how this plays out. He does go for the trade, which is mad sketch. I'm guessing he has another practice tactics, but what the heck are we gonna do anyway? We might as well try for it. Oh, we get the trade. So now we just need to find our smite the whatchamacallit, or our Skyclave. But of course, what did I just say last game? I'm mana cursed. It is what it is, I guess. But here we are. We are 2 turns from losing, and our card is just spitting out. I'm gonna write this down and do the calculation anyway. So we're at 27-8, right? 27 cards left with 8 lands drawn. I believe that is extremely unlikely. A Nectar Pool does not help us. It helps us survive 1 more turn, but it doesn't get us the win. Potentially 2, we can chump block with it.
Yeah.
Land, get a 1/1 counter, we gain 1 life. We can put the Kite Sail onto our Nectar Pot to chump block for 1 turn. I think I definitely have to chump block for 1 turn here. Gaining 1 more life if I draw a land isn't going to help me win, because if I draw another land, I'm definitely going to lose anyway. So we're definitely going to look to chump block this turn. Our opponent plays Shepherd of Heroes to add insult to injury. Another flyer. I don't think our deck can deal with 2 flyers in 1 turn, so I think we are drawing dead here. The Ox does not help us, so we will play this and graciously concede. Nothing we can do right here, right? I'm not... Oh, wait, I can equip this. But it's already a 6/6, so we have to jump block. Oh, that is so sad. That's so sad. We're so close. Ah, so close. Oh. Yep, our opponent draws perfectly, and once again we will give the good game. Our opponent drew perfectly to counteract the fact that we drew perfectly the first game, and here we are. On to the next one.
Alright, good luck.
Alright, thanks. Kind of a fun balance though, right? Game 3, let's see how we do. Vorst is our opponent. So we have all 3, we have both colors, we have our Kite Sail Cleric once again, another cheap flyer, our card filtering card, and a Zendikar. So I think that's very playable, even though we're going second. We will definitely keep this hand and give it a go. Ooh, I forgot Zendikar has reach. So that's also another excellent reason to have removed the 1/4, 1/3 Snarecaster reach creature, because we do have a source of reach there. We don't have any plays this turn, so we will just attack for 1 and call it a day. Next turn, we get to play Scale the Heights on our Kite Sail. Our opponent does play the Snarecaster, but like I said, I think we can get away with that. This only gets us to a 2/2. If I cast the Raptor and then cast the Scale the Heights on the Raptor, that might be good. However, if I cast Scale the Heights now, I can drop another land. So I think that is better. So I'll play Scale the Heights onto our Kite Sail. And we get to draw another land. No point attacking into a 1/4. Although I could have attacked. With one planes open, I could have been posturing a, I forgot what it's called, I'm sorry, the one to cast instant spell that deals damage equal to party members. I think that might have been a strategy. Ooh, we do see one of our payoffs, our landfall payoffs. So hopefully we can get this going with our awesome Raptors and Roiling Regrowths. Prowling Felidar, not too threatening yet. Our opponent does cast a gigantic 5/4 creature. I don't think that's too big of an issue, considering we have Smite the Monstrous. So I think we will drop the land. We will play... Roiling Regrowth is... Yeah, we definitely need the land, I think. We don't necessarily want to attack with the Zendikar just yet. So I think we will... Roiling Regrowth gives us 2 counters, so this can potentially grow to a 5/6. 5/6 unfortunately isn't good enough because if they block with both creatures, we will lose the Felidar, so that is a bit of a risky play. However, we do have Smite the Monstrous, so if we attack with the Felidar, and they only block with the Troll Ascetic, we can cast Roiling Regrowth, get this up to a 5/6, and kill his Ascetic. So I think, yes, that's an instant, so I think we can actually attack with our Felidar here pretty safely. Let's see if our opponent blocks. He's thinking about it, So we did play a land this turn, so playing our Tazeem Raptor is not as valuable. So we will let this damage go here. And I don't like the fact that he has a 5/4 already in play, so I believe it is in my interest to kill his Ascetic instantly. Particularly because he is showing blue, so he could have counter spells in his up his sleeve. However, that does prevent us from getting our Kazandu Stomper into play, so hedging a little bit of both ways here. Our opponent plays the Geyser Mage, which bounces our Felidar into our hand. Ooh, we do have the Apparition, which can do some fun stuff. However, I think we do definitely need our Felidar back in play, so we will do that and pass the turn. So killing his Ascetic paid off because now we have we didn't lose that many 1/1 counters to the Geyser Mage. Banneret is pretty solid. I think this turn I cast the Roiling Regrowth for sure, and I can get the Banneret in play. So this gets us to a 4/5. He might double block, so that's a little bit risky. In that case, I will cast the Roiling Regrowth. Yeah, if he double blocks the Felidar, it would be pretty bad. So hopefully this doesn't get countered. I'll sacrifice my forest here. I will pick up a... I don't need that many forests actually, so Maybe I actually get double planes here, because I have a double pip in Skyclave Apparition here, and I have Tazim Raptor and the Seagate Banneret, so I think that is a good plan. So our Felidar gets a little bit bigger. It becomes a 4/5 again. We can't attack through that, so we will cast the Seagate Banneret and call it a day. If our opponent is threatening a counterspell, okay, so he taps our Felidar. It's not too much of a concern for me. I can still chump block with my Kitesail, because I don't need it anymore. When this creature dies, draw a card. As long as you control another wizard. So if he attacks with this wizard, I can just block it, kill it, and then he doesn't get to draw a card when I remove it with the Skyclave Apparition. So my opponent does attack here. If I block, he might use a spell to try and save it, so I think I'm fine with this trade. Dauntless Survivor is excellent. What do we want to do here, though? So we didn't draw a land, so I think this would be a good turn to cast this, because once we cast it, we still have 4 mana. However, it doesn't seem like we can take advantage of 4 mana unless we're looking to cast the Zendikar this turn. We can, however, get the Skyclave Apparition in, but we probably want to save that for removing something. So perhaps the correct play here is to play the Kazandu Stomper. Let's see if this card gets countered. It does get countered. Okay, so our opponent was holding on to that for a while. Unfortunately, we did let him resolve that. If we had played the Raptor, he probably wouldn't have been able to counter it. So our opponent attacks for 3. Fine with me. We have a Kitesail here, so our opponent will be forced to deal with it if we cast this, so I think I will have to cast this and try and stick it on our Felidar. Glacial Grasp comes in again. That's fine. Ooh, he bins one of our Felidar. That is not good news. However, we have plenty of cards right now we can mess him up with. And I think I will cast the Zendikar here so that I can attack. 1, 2, 3, 4. Zendikar. And target this land. So I get to attack with a 4/4 creature. I'm still holding on to Skyclave Apparition because I'm hoping to have a turn where I remove one of his creatures while his creatures are tapped, so I get to swing in for a huge attack. So that's why I'm holding on to that. But I would have to wait for my Felidar to become untapped. Yikes! Oran Reef Ooze comes out, so I definitely need to Skyclave Apparition that. That is 100% priority target now. Ooh, and we draw Naziri's Binding, so lucky us. Yeah, Skyclave Apparition has got to go. But yeah, Skyclave Apparition has to go in and take care of that creature for us. Our Reach and Haste does not have that good of a capability, so what we can do is cast the Binding on the Gnarlid. Actually, when the enchanted land dies, return the card to my hand. So that's actually not bad. So I might actually just want to cast the Dauntless Survivor here and put a 1/1 counter on my land. That way I can block the Gnarlid Colony. So if I attack for 5 here, he can double block I can kill his Gnarlid. It'll go back to my hand, and then I can cast Binding on something else. So I think going for the attack here is fine. And my opponent takes it. Let's see what my opponent draws. He draws a land, which is good news for us. Our opponent, poor opponent, is swamped with lands. So we get to play a Plains here. We get another Landfall here. We just need to get over his head. 5/5 here. So I think a Binding is a pretty good card to cast here. We will cast it on his larger Gnarlid. We can cast our Raptor here to return our Plains that we don't need, and then we can now attack with both of our large creatures. Our opponent has no cards. He can chump block, but he'll have to deal with the rest of the board with basically nothing next turn, so he concedes. Excellent, excellent. Our deck is doing what it's supposed to do, and we didn't get mana screwed. Our opponent got mana screwed pretty bad. So here we go. Continuing on, continuing on. How's everyone doing today? Fallen Merc against Broken. You first. Ooh, okay. So, tons of land, but we don't really mind because we have the Prowling Felidar and we have the Rolling Regrowth. So I think I will keep this. A little bit risky, but, you know, when our deck has one mana sink and you get it in a hand like this, I suppose it's playable. I think it's playable. And we'll see if I'm correct. If you disagree, leave a comment. Leave a comment, and then we'll see how this goes. So we do get a turn 2 play in Dauntless Survivor, which is excellent. We can make this guy a 2/3, slightly more resilient. Can start swinging for 2. Acquisitions Expert, oh no. So they get one of our lands, or they get one of our creatures. So I think we're gonna have to donate a land, I think. And we need double white, so we'll donate a forest. Ooh, we get our forest back, which is excellent. Very lucky here. So we can have the forest here. That is an instant, so we don't need to cast it just yet. We can attack with the Seagate Banneret. And at this point, we're just definitely hoping to get Prowling Felidar down on the board next turn. That way we can start our Landfall shenanigans. Unfortunately, because we don't have any kill spell magnets as of yet, if we do play the Felidar, it's most likely going to instantly die anyway, so we'll have to see what's about to happen. Our opponent attacks with the 1/2. We can't do anything about that, so we will take the 1 damage. Our turn. Ooh, we do have a protection spell, but, you know, we have to cast it. It has to be in play first. We will attack with the Banneret, because we're not likely to block the Constrictor. And we continue the damage. Okay, so we each have to sacrifice a creature. He'll sacrifice his Acquisitions Expert, I'm guessing. I'll sacrifice my Dauntless Survivor. That's fine. He's sacrificing his Constrictor? Some interesting shenanigans happening here. Okay, whoa, we have Territorial Scythecat. Ooh, that's risky. I think I'll play it first. I'll be greedy. I'll get the Scythecat out. I don't have... I can drop this as a land, which will give me... which will give 1/1 counters. I think I'm going to be greedy. Really greedy here. Really greedy. This is really greedy. So 1/1 counters can make my creatures a little bit more resilient to board wipes and such. But because I'm greedy, I'm going to just hope for the best here. 3/1. We might need the Banneret to help block the Seagate Colossus, so we will pass on this trade. Ooh, we do get to play a land, which is excellent. So that becomes a 3/4, that becomes a 3/2. 2 more lands potential coming in, so this will become a 5/6, and we can cast a Shelter on it, so we can definitely have some trading shenanigans next turn, but we can't do anything right now. We would rather act on the defensive because we can already block the Disciple, so I think our best bet is to... Well, if I attack with both and leave Banneret to chump block, I can cast Roiling Regrowth now and get in for 10 damage. And I'm still pretty protected, so... Yeah, you know what? Sometimes you just gotta go YOLO. Hopefully I'm not miscalculating this. Okay, so he blocks, he chump blocks, and he takes the damage from Territorial Scythecat, so I believe we can just let it go as such, and then end our turn. We still have our combo up. He's walking right into a trap if he attacks into us. Ravager's Mace, attach a creature and has Menace. That's pretty powerful. So unfortunately it does mean one of our creature will die here, but I think I am okay with that. Pass to... So I'm gonna cast Roiling Regrowth here first. I will sacrifice my forest here. I will get a forest and a plains. So our creatures are now massive. We can block the Seagate Colossus, and we go to damage, and then I can't give protection. I can't. The Seagate Colossus is colorless. So fortunately, he does cast his final spell, which ironically, I guess it doesn't matter. If I give it protection, it's still going to die because that's 9 damage to both of these creatures. So I suppose... And I'll still have enough damage to kill his Colossus, so I think letting that go is fine. Giving it protection doesn't help because it's colorless. So here we are. Not what I wanted to see. It is a land, however, and we do get bigger. We can't block his creature anyway because it will have Menace, so we will attack for 6 and hope my opponent doesn't draw any kill spells. If he does have a kill spell, fortunately we do have a Shelter, so actually I think we have this game in the bag. Our opponent equips it. Most he can do is attack for 4. Cast the Supplies is not enough for the win. And we are at a 6-5, so we actually just drop another land. We don't even need to worry about him blocking us because we will do 7-6. Next to combat, attack. Cancel. Oh, whoa, I do need to attack for sure. And then before blockers, we can just keep it protection from black because my opponent is completely tapped out. I don't need to worry about him having a kill spell in response. So normally, if he wasn't tapped out, I wouldn't cast that spell first because he can cast an instant in response to me randomly casting that and potentially kill it. So that would have been bad. But since he was tapped out, I decided to play it anyway, just so, you know, save him the hassle of blocking our creature. Oh, I've been neglecting this weight here. So we're doing pretty well here. We're doing pretty well. Oh no. Okay, so this hand is not looking so good. We have our high end of our deck with pretty much no way to scale up into it. We do have the Gnarlid Colony. However, these cards just aren't that helpful. We are going second. And since our deck is relying on Felidar to win, I'll just go for it. Let's see how this goes. Oh, we draw yet another card on the top end of our deck, which almost definitely, certainly spells doom for our deck. Fortunately, we do draw the Skyclave Apparition. That is a little breathing room. We need to draw basically 2 lands in a row here to scale up to our higher end before we have a chance. We do have a Kitesail Cleric, which is at least a playable card. I think the Apparition is enough of a threat, but let's play the Kitesail first. In case he has a kill spell. He'll probably kill my Gnarlid Colony right now. And let's see what happens. So yep, my opponent does have Vanquish the Weak. So that's exactly what I was afraid of. He had mana open, we're playing against black. He probably has a kill spell or a burn spell. So if I had cast Skyclave Apparition, we would have basically just donated a 2/2 token to our opponent. So my opponent casts Myriad Construct, which is horrifically bad for us. However, it is converted mana cost 4, so fortunately we can get rid of it with Skyclave Apparition. Alternatively, we can cast Scale the Heights in hopes of drawing a land, but I think the Myriad Construct is enough of a threat for us to go ahead and remove it. And because it is not a target of a spell, its trigger is only becomes target of a spell because we didn't target with a spell. It doesn't trigger those 1/1 tokens. Unfortunately, my opponent is drawing perfect, and now he gets a 4/4 token. Which we cannot even respond to at this point. So at here we can't cast Smite the Monstrous, so we're definitely going to play Scale the Heights in hopes of drawing a land. Alternatively, I can play the Raptor, but I think I need to draw a land desperately here. So yes, we do draw the land. Luckily, we will drop that, and we'll pass the turn. So, because we were so far in drawing a land, spending a turn to draw an extra card in case, this card wasn't a land is helpful. So, for example, if I hadn't played that card and this wasn't a land, and this wasn't a land, we would have been stuck with nothing. So, since we didn't draw another land, casting our Felidar when we're behind isn't going to really help us. However, if we do get this dropped, we can potentially take advantage of even more things later on. However, I think we are getting a little bit too far behind, so my best bet is if I Smite the Illusion. Well, if he enchants something with the Illusion, maybe I do cast a Prowling Felidar here first, because at least I can still block the Gnarlid with the Shadowcat. However, he can sacrifice another creature to make his Scythecat larger, so that is not exactly an even trade. So perhaps it was Mind Drain. I discard 2 cards. We're never going to reach these 2 cards basically, so I'm actually pretty okay with losing those. Our opponent can sacrifice cards, so unfortunately I think my best bet here is to double block the 4/4 token. To at least guarantee that I will kill something. And then this way, if I block his Scythecat, he'll have to sacrifice his Gloombat. And before I do too much talking, I gotta consider playing the Felidar first before dropping my land. So I think we have enough life still to survive that. So let's drop the Felidar and drop the Forest, get the 1/1 counter. It's a 3/4, so now we can sort of double block the Scythecat. However, I would rather just block it with the Gnarlid Colony. He'll have to sacrifice the bat to it, and then once it gets to a 4/4, I can just smite it with the Smite the Monsters. So I will just leave the Gnarlid as a blocker. Blood Price. Opponent gets to draw some cards. It's pretty good, all things considered. If you are ahead like my opponent is, he is very far ahead. He gets to draw more cards, and in limited, drawing cards can help you win. He is only stuck on 2 mana, so hopefully we might have a chance here to not get completely screwed over. Our opponent now has 3 lands, so maybe he has the 3 mana spell somewhere. My opponent just attacks with the bat, which is what I would do as well, so no surprises there. Ooh. The Zendikar is an excellent find here. If we play this, we return 1 land, we still have 3 mana, that's not enough to cast anything, so that doesn't help us. So I think I will cast the Zendikar. And again, I will manually tap because I don't like the way the auto tap works. We do have a 4/4 now. If I attack with this land, it might die. But then I'll just get the land returned to my hand, and I can still drop it. So I think I feel pretty safe attacking with the Forest, but I will definitely leave my Gnarlid as a blocker because I am behind. So my opponent takes it. So now we're at a race. My opponent has a 1/1 bat. If he has any pump spells on it, I made a horrible mistake with attacking with that creature. But let's see what happens here. My opponent attacks with the bat. I'm fine with that. Whenever you gain life, lose 1 life. Okay. So I can play the Raptor here. Can't attack or block. Or use activated abilities, so that's an excellent target for Scythecat. However, I will get the Raptor out first. I will get to return a land to my hand, which will be the Forest. Ooh, it should have been the Plains, so that I have a chance of playing this turn as an option. However, seeing it as it is what it is, I will not attack this turn. However, I can't win if I don't attack. So perhaps I attack with the Gnarlid and see how my opponent responds. My opponent takes the 3 damage. Okay. Sneaky damage there. That is also a very risky play, because if my opponent kills any one of my creatures right now, he can just swing for the win. Potentially. Dreadworm is a pretty nasty creature. It will gain indestructible until end of turn. However, we do have a Plains coming in here. I believe I will have... Well, if I cast Nahiri's Binding onto the Dreadworm, he'll just sacrifice it to the Shadowcat. So if he sacrifices the Shadowcat, I can just smite it. So I should actually smite the worm and put Nahiri's Binding on the Shadowcat. I do definitely need to deal with the worm this turn, so perhaps I do put the Nahiri's Binding onto it to nullify that. My opponent sacrifices it. And I think I will attack with my 2/2 flyer. I'm not sure if that was the right call, because now if I try and smite the monstrous on the Shadowcat, he will get to draw a card, so it's not ideal. So my opponent attacks with the bat. I guess I'll have to block it with my forest. I do lose the 1 life here. I am at 5. If my opponent has the Roiling Eruption here, I lose. Full Eruption goes to my face, and I lose anyway. So my opponent drew exactly what he needed. I don't think what I did with the Dreadworm there mattered, because he had the Roiling Eruption. So just a little bit unlucky there, with my opponent drawing what he needed. We're at 3 wins, going strong, having a lot of fun. Our deck is doing kind of what it's supposed to do. Sometimes when your opponent draws that well, there's nothing you can do about it. Except lift weights. You're lifting weights. Always winning. Winning life. Opponent goes first. Ooh. We have all of our enablers, but none of our payoffs. But we do have 2 playable creatures. Our opponent's going first. Let's go for it. Okay, not a land, but we do have one of our payoffs now. Chilling Depths, okay. Not too worried about that. We do see a land, luckily. Let's play the Gnarlid Colony, sure. And then we can put the Dauntless Survivor onto it. Seafood Stalker. Okay, so maybe a change of plans. We don't do that. We play the Raptor instead. Or we do the Dauntless and put the counter on there as a blocker. Cascade Seer, ooh, 3 party members already. Our opponent curving out perfectly, so our opponent is getting extremely lucky here, in my opinion. Getting 3 party members in 4 turns. That is really, really, really lucky. However, I think since they're all commons, maybe he just got a good draft where, you know, he got past all the blue party members. So we can't cast Felidar yet, so we are fine with dropping a land. And we will drop that land to cast Prowling Felidar. And we will stall there. Next turn we play a Forest, okay, a Banneret. He now has a full party and a Cleric, that's pretty scary. He attacks for 3. Our Gnarly Colony is kind of holding back a lot of stuff, and we will have a Felidar that grows next turn, so I think taking 3 damage here isn't too bad. However, it is a Wizard, so if we block it, we do get rid of a Wizard, so I think I will go ahead and get rid of the Wizard. I don't want him to have a full party. We can drop the land here pretty safely. We can cast the Ox as well, even though we're not going aggressive yet. So actually with the 4/4 Ox, I think we can go pretty aggressive next turn. And we did just drop a land, so getting a land back this turn isn't going to be that helpful. So let's play the Ox. And we'll leave it be. Hopefully my opponent is a little bit mana screwed at this point. He is playing 3 colors. Seeing the swamp kind of makes me a little bit suspicious. I believe he might have gotten that black 2/2 flying demon flyer. That would be pretty nasty. Our opponent attacks for 3. There's nothing we can do against that. Ooh, we do have the Nahiri Binding, which is most excellent. Unfortunately, ooh, we can play it actually. We play the Raptor. Yeah, so here's what we do. We play the Raptor. And we return the land to our hand. We play the land to get a 1/1 counter. And we get to tap one of his creatures, so let's tap Cleric of Chill Depths. And we do have... ooh, we can cast another Raptor here. That would be very, very, very annoying. I think I would rather have the Shelter up to protect my Felidar though, so let's attack with the Felidar and the Ox. He'll probably block the Chill Depths with that. Deadly Alliance, destroy target creature or planeswalker, exactly what I said. This is why we want to have the protection card to protect our creature. We need to protect it from black, so let's go ahead and give it protection from black. Fizzles his spell, we get rid of one of his clerics, and we make him take a bunch of damage. So hopefully, oof. Okay, so he is a giant Colossus now. Not ideal. However, he is tapped out, so what we can do is play our Raptor again. We will once again return a Plains to our hand. We will drop the Plains, have double Landfall. We will tap down our opponent's Cleric of Chill Depths, even though that doesn't matter, I suppose. 1, 3, 2, 2. Yeah, it doesn't matter which one I block down here. But for the sake of argument, let's do that. Nahiri's Binding will tap down the Seagate Colossus for us, and now we can attack with these 2 creatures. So we're basically all in here already. However, we have 2 flyers and a really big vigilance creature. He did kick it, so our Felidar unfortunately is tapped now. He attacks with a 2/3. We can double block that to kill it, but we lose one of our birds. Is that worth it? No, I think I'm okay. I think I'm okay without blocking that. So that doesn't get to untap. We will play a Forest. We will tap the Cleric of Chill Depths. We will play the Dauntless Survivor on our... Let's see, he has to block the Ox. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. So if we put it on the Dauntless, it will become a threat for at least 1 turn, or we put it on the Raptor. But Our opponent doesn't want to think about it. He just concedes because he probably has no way to deal with 2 flying raptors. Our deck is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Feeling lucky, feeling lucky. Only 1 game of Mana Screw so far. In 6 games, we have 4 wins and 2 losses. Let's keep it going. Checking in on Twitch chat. I don't think I have very many people there. My channel is very empty right now. My Twitch channel. Hopefully I get some time to work on it tomorrow. While we're waiting here, let me put a plug for my other series. It's called Homebrew Mythic Climb. My friend Connor here came up with a homebrew deck that he climbed all the way to Mythic last season, and I'm trying to do the exact same with the exact same deck list this season. Go check it out on my channel. It's on YouTube. You can search up Inculcation Gaming. Man, I can't even say my own channel name. That's pretty bad. All right, we have a playable. We have some early flyers. Let's see what damage our deck can do. Inculcation Gaming. Inculcation Gaming on YouTube. Quick Sale Cleric. Can do some work, hopefully. No turn to play, so we might as well not flash our forests. Okay, our opponent plays a Mana Dork, which I'm not too concerned about. Scale the Heights will help us get a 1/1 counter on here, gain some life, and drop an extra land. So now, if we draw another land, we can cast Prowling Felidar and drop the land at the same turn. It would be a most excellent turn, curving right into exactly what our deck wants to do. So I guess playing Scale the Heights now and seeing how it all fits in together, I think I underestimated it a little bit. It is way better than I thought it would be. We don't have any Landfall payoffs yet, so we'll play the Prowling Felidar here and attack with the Cleric. Next turn, we can potentially cast the Tajuru Raptor for 3 mana. We'll get to bounce one of our lands. If we don't draw a land, we'll play the land, and then we get to play our Dauntless Survivor on the same turn. Very, very efficient. Skewed Swarm? What? No way. Alright, I gotta give him a nice for that one. Getting Skewed Swarm is ridiculous in limited. That's going to do a lot of damage very quickly. Fortunately, we do have some tricks up our sleeve, so let us play the Tajuru Raptor. We can put the planes back in our hand, I suppose. We will play said planes, and like I said, I can play Dauntless Survivor to get myself another 1/1 counter on the Felidar, or I could give it Kite Sail. I think the 1/1 counter is slightly more important now. So we will go ahead with that and attack with these 2 creatures. My opponent chumps, which is fine with me. So the race is on. I do have 2 flying creatures, and next turn I will have the Kite Sail on the Felidar probably. If I draw a land, I'll get Nissa Zendikar into play. My opponent plays as the Nectar Pot, so he's also playing a Landfall. Is he land? Is he mana screwed? Oh, my opponent is mana screwed. Oh no, he's not. Oh man, he is just tricky. That's okay, I have a whole bunch of flyers, so I don't really care too much about that. So I guess I could have played the Nectar Pot. However, I think I would rather get the Kite Sail going. onto the Felidar. And then I can attack for pretty much 1,000,000 damage here. And actually, I take it back. I guess I will have to cast the Nectar Pot here first, because next turn I can maybe surprise him with the Zendikar attack. Ooh, mistake. Actually, I needed to get the Zendikar into play, because if he gets rid of my Felidar, I can just simply equip the Kite Sail onto the Zendikar and win the game. So he has a Landfall Axe, pretty scary. He's almost at 6 lands, but not quite. He's strapped for green mana because he played the Pickaxe. So I'm feeling pretty safe right now. I can still chump block with the Nectar Pot. My opponent does play Cleansing Wildfire, so he gets 1 trigger of Landfall. It doesn't help him get to 6 though, so I'm pretty lucky. I think my flyers still have this. I don't see any way his flyers can get to me, or his creatures can get to me, and I have more than enough in the air. I have 9 damage in the air to end him, so I think I am pretty safe here. My opponent attacks for 7. He has Trample, so nothing much I can do here. I suppose I can block with the Nectar Pot for basically no reason here. I think I have the win because, again, he doesn't have flying, and I do have Nahiri's Binding, so I can bind up his cat anyway. However, let's just attack with all of the flying creatures and claim the victory. So if you're ever playing best of 3 in drafts and you already have the win, when your opponent is completely locked down, no chance of casting any nasty spells to keep him alive, you definitely should keep any spells you haven't shown your opponent in your hand. Always do that in best of 3. Obviously this was best of 1, so it wouldn't have mattered, but best practices, always keep it in mind. Don't show cards to your opponents that you don't need to show, because that might come back and bite you in the later games of the best of 3 series. Okay, so we have a playable, a payoff, and an enabler. So I think, again, the best that we can hope for in our limited games. I wish we had seen that 1 turn earlier. However, I think it is still worth slowing ourselves down to play the Kite Sail first. Flying against white in particular could be very, very potent. I guess, except it's white-black. So our opponent has Skulker, so I'm actually kind of glad I did that now. Scythecat, probably a little bit too early. Let's see. I think we have to risk it. Scythecat. That's a risky move, but I think if he has a kill spell, he wouldn't cast it on the Survivor. He wouldn't cast it on the Kite Sail anyway. Okay, so we both get to draw a card. Excellent. Prowling Felidar is most excellent, so now I don't need to rely on Territorial Scythecat to win. I get that there. I cast the Felidar, and I attack for 1. Getting quite lucky here so far. If our opponent doesn't have a kill spell, or taps up for something irrelevant, he's in for a world of pain. We can cast Kite Sail onto our Vigilance creature. Actually, on our Trample creature. Okay, our opponent has a scary creature. It is a party member related card, and it can get a lot of other party members out. So let's see. With Roiling Regrowth, we get 2 lands. So that's 2/1/1 counters. that's not big enough to kill that, so unfortunately we don't get to go that route anytime soon. We don't have lands, however, I think I would like to cast Roiling Regrowth so we have a better turn next turn, and then Felidar can follow Roiling Regrowth, I suppose. But yeah, I think I would rather have my Flying Vigilance start attacking because I have a feeling this is going to turn into a race. So yeah, let's cast this, sacrifice a plains. I will get a forest and another plains. I get lots of 1/1 counters. Unfortunately not big enough to get past that, but I do get to attack for 4 damage pretty safely. 5 damage pretty safely. So yeah, I did draw my other Prowling Felidar, but I believe if I put the Prowling Felidar, I wouldn't be able to attack with both my creatures being relatively weak, and it would put me a little bit too far behind in terms of damage for me to actually make it work. So I think playing the Prowling Felidar would have been too much of a setup, so that's why I didn't go for it. But let's see if I made the mistake. So, like, the reason casting Roiling Regrowth there I thought made sense is because we have the Felidar, we have the Scythecat, and see, we don't even need to block this creature at this point, because it's mostly irrelevant to us, that 4 damage. We can just cast more creatures to chump block, etc, etc. Okay, so we do have another land, so we definitely cast the Felidar now, before we drop the land. So we have another Felidar. We can drop the land for a lot of 1/1 counters. Our opponent does kill one of our Felidars. He is letting the rest of the counters resolve. And we can play... actually, let's just attack for 6 right now. Let's see what happens. And then let's cast our Dauntless Survivor as a chump blocker. And we can put the 1/1 token on our Kite Sail. It is an annoying flyer. It will end the game for us if my opponent does not deal with it. So let's just put the 1/1 counter on there. And my opponent now has to deal with a very wide board of creatures. He blows up he blows up our Felidar, which is fine, considering we can just equip Kite Sail onto the Scythecat and still go for the win. So he definitely needs to have a kill spell for the Scythecat, or else he's done for. Unfortunately, we don't have enough lands to play Stomper and play the Kite Sail at the same time. Our opponent attacks with everything. I will chump block 1 creature. In case he has, what was that card? Dauntless Unity. Dauntless Unity would have ended me. We do draw a land. So we put the 1/1 counter there. He probably has a kill spell for it. He taps the creature. Okay, so that means we're not pressured to get that onto the board. We'll get the Stomper onto the board instead. We can return up to 2 lands to our hand. So let's go ahead and do that. And then we can attack for 2. Is kind of risky. Let me think for a second. So if our opponent kills our Stomper next turn after we attack, we instantly lose. If we leave a blocker here and my opponent kills the Stomper, I can chump block the Skulker and still live to see another day. So I think that's what I'm going to have to do, because my opponent does not have lethal otherwise. So my best bet is to not attack here. in case he has a kill spell. My opponent does not draw a kill spell, so he sees the writing on the wall with the kite sail, and we claim the victory. So small decisions like that make a difference. Make sure when you're in the very critical combat, when you're both very, very, very low on life, and one attack could make the difference. Think about whether or not your opponent can have more kill spells, especially considering their colors. Those small decisions make a difference. So here we are at 6 wins and 2 losses. So we are now do or die for our 7 wins or 3rd loss. We'll have to see how we do. Very awkward doing punches in the seat. I hope you guys are having a nice evening, or a nice day if you are watching this during the daytime on YouTube. Ooh, all right. So I guess our luck finally has to end. On our game 7, we're matched up a person who's ranked in diamond for whatever reason, and we're silver. I don't know what's happening here, what the deal is with that, and we're forced to mulligan because we absolutely have no plays. So Nahiri's Binding is double white, so we're never going to get to play that anytime soon unless we draw 2 white mana in the same turn. Smite the Monstrous is too conditional, and Kite Sail Cleric, not going to cut it. So having mulliganed into this, we are in a much better spot. Smite the Monstrous is not bad. We can have the Blightblade and the Kite Sail keep us alive, so I suppose I will bin that. Alternatively, I could be aggressive and bin a forest, considering we have a lot of low casting cards. Binning a forest is also, I think, a reasonable decision here. But we will open with our flyer, and then we'll drop the Dauntless and start attacking with a 2/2 flyer on turn 2. My opponent likes to smash. Unfortunately for him, he is going second, and I too like to smash. Let's see if we can smash our opponent here. Honeypot. That does give me 1 life. Maybe that 1 life will make a difference. So let's change plans and get our Nectar Pot out. My opponent is playing blue, so there is a potential that he does not play a creature on the next turn. If he doesn't play a creature next turn, then I'll have 2 attackers, and I won't have wasted that 1 turn with a 1/1 counter. So it's blue-black. My opponent does play a creature, so I did not get that benefit, unfortunately. But I do get to gain that 1 life at least. Unfortunately, I'm already emptying my hand. I'm basically running a Weenies deck now against with no support cards. So really, I am hoping to top deck into the rest of my deck while pummeling him with a 2/2 flyer as my only source of pressure. Oof. So my opponent has a 3/2. I do have Death Touch. So I will save the Death Touch and just double block with these 2 creatures because I don't care about either of them, and it will get... I will only lose 1 of these creatures at most unless he has a kill spell. So yeah, he does have a kill spell, so I'll lose 1 of these creatures for sure. But at least this way I don't lose my Death Touch. Here I will drop another land. Unfortunately, that's all I'm given. My opponent attacks for 1. Obviously, I don't care about that. How you doing? Oh, wow. Are you kidding me? Okay, so my opponent drew perfectly. He even milled me perfectly. So, like, I don't know what to say. And, of course, I was forced to mulligan. And I'm drawing absolute garbage. So I think that's the end there. I don't see a solution. I can't block his Zareth San efficiently. I suppose I have the Blightblade. So he has another Zulaport Duelist because he returned that to his hand. So the best I can do here is chump block, or else he'll get another creature. Can chump block Death Touch, I guess, but he'll just return my creature to his play. So there's literally nothing I can do here. Wow. So my opponent was basically remember during the, if you guys watched the drafting and deck building video that got us here, you will have noticed that we passed a whole bunch of rogue cards to, in the quick draft, and we were commenting that how someone who picked up all those rogues would pretty much instantly win, and this is exactly what we're seeing here. This could have been what happened. Like, look at this guy. He started with the most ridiculous legendary creature that you can have in limited in this set, and now he has a gigantic flyer that I can't deal with. Felidar, not good enough. I will lose to that flyer. However, this turn at least I can chump block the Zareth and not worry too much about losing value, because at least next turn I have Rolling Regrowth to keep me alive. So this turn I will have to block the Zareth, or else he'll get one of these creatures back into play. So I got a double whammy screw here. Had some mulligan. Didn't draw what I needed. To be fair, you know, I was drawing pretty much exactly what I needed for all of the other cards. But against my opponent, who drew perfectly and into their god hand, not much I can do about that. Pass turn, and all my opponent needs to do is just attack with everything. Even if I block his Zareth, wow, he has more creatures. Okay, even if I block his Zareth, he will have more than enough damage to deal 7 damage to me, particularly because he has the Tazim Raptor. Just for kicks, I will block it and show him my Rolling Regrowth. Again, that is because this is best of 1. Do not do this in best of 3. This would be showing cards that you don't necessarily need to. But because it is best of 1, and I'm going to lose anyway and never see this guy again. I don't know why I got matched with someone who's all the way up in Diamond. Maybe the runs use MMR, and because I was doing so well in the run, they matched me up with Diamond. I have no idea. But hey, that was fun. Sometimes you're just not lucky when you need to be, and that's what happens. So, thank you so much for watching. Check out my Homebrew Mythic Climb series on my channel if you're on YouTube, and the rest of my drafting series also on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, like and/or subscribe. Ring it if you feel it. If you're on Twitch, please follow me. And I am just starting out, so if you have any comments, questions, suggestions, or you just like to say hi, leave a comment. Let me know. It's much appreciated. Once again, thank you for watching. I'll see you later.